Star from Sovereign, which is on Napalm Records. Borealis gave us Second Son from The Offering, which is on AFM Records. I am Professor Dum Dum, scientist of music and human behavior, and I hope that you have written a poem about nailing the ugly baby Jesus into something other than a cross. If you have that poem, you can call up right now, or you can talk about how you would transform either the flesh or the blood of the bastard Jesus Christ into something. Think of something other than bread or wine. Beer might be nice. I like that. So call right now with whatever you have. 201-209-9368. That is 201-209-9368. Unless you are enjoying the music so much that you want me to continue doing it. I played a lot of music and a little talk out of respect for the last few weeks in which you had a lot of talk. WFMU, are you on the air?
Hello, Professor.
Is this King Dean?
Yes, it is.
Do you have a poem, or do you want to talk about what you would change the bastard's body or blood into?
I will be talking about the bastard Jesus' body and blood.
Was it hard for you to manhandle it?
No, not at all.
Or son of man handle it? What does that mean, son of man? I thought you were son of God.
He should be. Kinda.
Have you ever wondered why he's called son of man?
There's all sorts of stupid names for the bastard Jesus.
But why son of man? I thought if he was Jewish, isn't it the matriarch line? Because you always know who your mother is.
Yes, that's true.
So clearly, the New Testament was written by Romans. They didn't know anything. They thought everybody was Roman, much like when people are Americanized in countries outside of America. Americans think that all people want to be like Americans. That is not true. Wait, you were in Japan.
Yes.
Would you say that Japanese want to be like Americans?
I think they want to be like the French. Oh, and the British. And sometimes Americans. There's all sorts of different stuff.
All right, but overall, America is not the country to imitate, right? When you're over there.
It depends.
They have depends over there?
I would imagine. They have lots of old people.
Jesus would have that, right?
He did have it, but the Romans stole it and they split it up amongst themselves.
Oh, so all those paintings should have had that, right?
Yes, it specifically says in the Bible that his little underwear was taken before he was put on the cross, but all the depictions show otherwise.
It is strange how whatever is in books can be brutal, but you cannot depict it in paintings or in movies.
Yes.
Have you ever read The Odyssey?
A long, long time ago.
In The Odyssey, fallen soldiers, what is the word? Emasculated could mean, oh, he was just insulted until he didn't feel like a man anymore. But they cut off those certain parts of the male body.
Yes.
But try to depict that in the movie, and oh boy!
Well, that should have been what they were doing in Planet of the Apes, because that's what apes do to other apes that impede on their area.
I would never impede on anyone's area. King Dean, why do you think that in one form of art, in literature, I'm not saying that the Bible is literature, that's ridiculous, but in literature, things can be obscene, disgusting, horrifying, but such things cannot be depicted. Even movies based on classics, somehow it's all whitewashed. But then again, America likes to pretend that certain things that did not exist in history. Revisionist, that's what it is, right?
Yes, if you're using your own imagination, I think it's fine because they don't expect you to do too well with that. But if you're actually being shown something, then it's a little too far. Like there's some guy who makes these crazy movies about like rapes and Santa Claus and stuff like that, and that guy, his movies wouldn't fly too well.
Well, even if they could, nobody would buy them. I think. I think I know who you're talking about. But what would you do with the body or blood of Jesus? How would you change it? What would it? What is the word? Transfiguration? Transubstantiation.
Transubstantiation. Yeah. Well, you got to go with the kids nowadays. So obviously, you want to stick with the same shapes and the same, forms of matter, I guess. So his body would have to be the Tide Pod, and his blood would be the juice that you put in the electronic cigarettes, the vape juice.
Could you explain that? I do not understand what you're talking about.
Well, the kids nowadays, they like to eat the Tide pods that are for washing your clothes because they see it on the internet. And
is it more powerful during the full moon? I heard that the Tide is more powerful during full moon.
Yes, twice. Yes, the neat tide and the spring tide.
That should be a menstrual product. So, tell me more about. You said the Tide Pods.
Yes, since Jesus, he's really interested in. We've discussed that he's really interested in the young boys. That he wants to recruit them. And that's what they're into nowadays, so it's perfect for them.
And you talked about the juice.
Yes, the juice for the vape pens, because.
But Jesus was the king of the juice.
Yes, he was. Yes, that's exact. That should be the slogan for his store.
Go on Shark Tank with that.
That's a good one, Professor.
Thank you. I still remember your ears of the corn last week.
Yes.
Do you think that people are afraid to participate in these reindeer games that we have on the radio?
I don't know if they're afraid. If they're listening to your music and enjoying it, then I don't think they would have any reason to be afraid to call in.
I was told, did you listen when Rachel was on the air?
Yes. I called in when Rachel was on.
She said that it takes a lot to call in, but I do not understand why.
I hear that from other radio shows, too, that it takes a lot for people to call up.
Although we know your address when you call, because it's federal, we can't have terrorists calling up the radio station and spouting propaganda. But I do not personally know the address of whoever calls. I cannot. I know you by voice. You could actually be imitating Kington. You could be identity thief. Although I do not think that is one of those terms like the news like to call suicide bombers homicide bombers, because in America you change the word and it all of a sudden changes your status, or it doesn't hurt anymore, or it hurts more. But what was I saying here? I threw breadcrumbs and the birds ate the breadcrumbs. I can't go back. By the way, in the internet, they call breadcrumbs for you to find your way back to pages. But Hansel and Gretel taught us that you do not use breadcrumbs to mark your trail. Birds will eat the breadcrumbs and you will be lost. What was I talking about before?
All sorts of things, Professor. You should be using a string, actually, like Theseus.
Or like Spanky from Little Rascals, when he went into a cave.
Oh.
The damn buckwheat, he ruined the whole plan.
Oh, Professor, I don't think you can even talk about buckwheat anymore.
Oh, that's right. I forgot I forgot where I was, or the time I'm in right now.
Yes, and the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Oh, the He-Man. You can't say that on the air.
No.
I wonder, as we get more censored, it is almost like playing music with fewer notes. Pretty soon, everything will be one pitch. That son of a pitch. I hate that. So, do you have any hope for mankind? Maybe your new body and blood of the bastard Jesus Christ will help.
I think it'll help get rid of a few of them, and then the remainder should be good.
Oh, I forgot about that. Because it is a product. It is like vitamins or the whatever the vegans like to eat. There's no government oversight. You can't go into a church and demand the calorie or the ingredients of the body of Christ, right?
I don't think so.
So you could volunteer to provide churches with body and blood of Christ and just give poison.
I don't know if you could sue a church if you had a gluten allergy and they told you that it is the flesh of the bastard Jesus.
Did you ever eat something and you thought it was another object?
I'm sure I have.
Do you know that it is difficult to tell apart monkeys unless you spend time with them?
I would imagine.
Do you think that the same could be true if you spent enough time with peas? You could tell the difference between them and you would never again say it's like two peas in a pod because you are wise enough to know that they are not identical?
Oh.
I'm just wondering.
Is that what is that the meaning behind two peas in a pod, that things are identical, or I thought it was just they're close.
Oh. Let me change that then. Oh, that George Bush and Thumbelina, they're like two peas in a pod. It could mean either they're close or they resemble each other to the point where you cannot tell the difference. Really? Are you sure that two peas in a pod mean that something is in close proximity to another?
I don't know. I thought that meant that people were like good friends or they had a good relationship, but I'm not sure.
Oh, if I only saw two peas in a pod, I would spit it out. Surely there's something wrong if there are only two peas in this pod. Do you think that Tide would sell more pods if there were peas in them? Or if you peed in them?
I don't know how clean that would get your clothes.
Both of us could pee in the pod. There would be two peas in that pod.
Oh.
Let's try it. Do you have any sort of
a pod
plastic that we could use to capture our flowing manhood?
That's going to be the future prank when people are like cryogenically frozen and traveling through space. Two people pee in your pod.
You told me that astronauts recycle body fluids, right?
I don't think I told you that.
Oh, well, you sound like a professor from a long time ago. But that would discourage people from going to space, don't you think?
I would imagine.
There's something to this water. I can't quite put my finger on it. What could that be? I know there is this water that is sold in bottles that has the strange aftertaste of maybe a black cherry or a raspberry.
Yes.
Do you think that astronauts have that? Oh, that's Harold. I know it. Harold had asparagus.
I think that's the only one that would work. I'm not sure what else survives.
Do you think if you eat a lot of sweets that the product would be sweet as well?
I think that's true if you have diabetes. Because that's how doctors used to test for diabetes.
Really?
Yes, that's an actual fact.
Doctors used to have a sip?
Yep. It's sterile, so
No wonder they make a lot of money. They do the things that we don't want to do. I see. But all right, King Dean, could you tell people why someone should call?
they should call to come up with their new idea of what to change the blood and flesh of the bastard Jesus Christ into, or to write a poem about crucifying, was it the ugly baby Jesus?
Yes,
to a
the
new
ugly
object?
baby Jesus.
Yes, to some sort of new object, which wouldn't technically be crucifying then.
But let us say nailing into something.
Yes. Well, Jesus wasn't crucified anyway, because the original Greek says stavros, which is not a cross.
What is it?
It's it's like a pillar, but it's usually a tree, and you are usually tied, not nailed.
I wonder if he was climbing a tree and used rope to help him.
Maybe. Or he was having a good time and it went wrong, like Michael Hutchins or David Carradine.
Ah, no wonder the paintings have it all wrong. No wonder there is inconsistency between all the paintings. They're trying to cover up. Just like Roosevelt did not have polio, he got into a car accident on his way to his mistress.
Yes, that I heard.
Yeah, but actually, I'm saying that as if it is fact. It is something I heard. Because conspiracy theories are very exciting.
Yes.
To uncover something that dispels what has been learned before. There is actually a Greek term for realizing that whatever you have learned has been a lie. I forgot the word for it, but we owe much to the Greeks. Literature has been greatly enhanced by the contributions of the Greeks, I would say.
Yes.
If you were to bring back the Greek pantheon, which god would you worship the most? Which festival would you attend?
Well, what is the proper word? Is it Calpurnia is the proper term for Valentine's Day? Or is it something else where you basically run around naked with pieces of leather and whip people on the ass?
But what if you do not have a donkey? That would explain the show of Jesus going to Jerusalem. He gave a donkey show. He said he rode on the back of an ass, but we know what that means.
Yes.
So yeah, why is not the donkey show part of all the movies, all the religious movies? The Jesus donkey show. Because I cannot see a big crowd forming. Oh, there's a man too lazy to walk. He's on a donkey. The laziest animal. He did the donkey show. That's why everybody is watching him. Side saddled. We know what that means.
Yes.
All right, King Dean. I think we scared away everybody possible. We're going to play some music now. Are you enjoying the music so far?
Always, Professor.
All right, thank you, King Dean. And maybe call back with the poem.
I'll try my best, Professor.
All right, do not be afraid. Again, you can call to recite the poem about nailing the ugly baby Jesus into something other than a cross. Or you can call up with your idea of transforming the flesh or blood of the bastard Jesus Christ into something other than bread or wine. How boring! Boring! I'm snoring because it's boring.
feel the shit.